I'm putting a modern spin on 3 classic dinners. With minimal effort and maximum flavor, thanks to Land O'Lakes, I'm showing you that magical things can happen when you have the right ingredients. When I think of classics, I think of things that I had growing up or what I would smell at my grandmother's house cooking. Chicken and rice casserole is my favorite casserole. Chicken bacon ranch is the ultimate upgrade, or CBR as the kids call it. It's an elevated, everyday combination that's gonna turn a plain old casserole into something special. We're gonna start building the flavors, so I'm gonna cook some bacon that I've just chopped up. You wanna cook it until it's good and crispy. We're gonna use the fat that renders from this bacon to start making our cream sauce. Bacon's looking good and crispy. I'm gonna take it out with a slotted spoon so that the fat stays in there, and just scoop it onto some paper towels. Now to the pot, I'm just going in with the butter. I'm using Land O'Lakes salted butter here. I'm gonna let that melt, and then we're gonna cook our chicken right in here. You can see how we're already building the flavor in here. I want it to get really hot so that when I add the chicken, it will brown. I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs because you really can't mess them up and they have the best flavor. I'm gonna spread it out and I'm gonna cook it without touching it so that it can get some color. Now we've developed a little color on that, looking good. Now we're gonna make our own cream of chicken. I'm gonna go in with some onion. Once you add that onion, kind of scrape some of the bottom, help lift off some of that flavor. Now I'm gonna add in some garlic. All right, so I'm gonna go in with some flour and cook it down for about a minute. Now in goes the liquid. I'm using a combination of stock and milk. That way you get the creamy richness from the milk, but it's not overwhelming. So the stock kind of adds that flavor and breaks up some of that richness. Once your liquid goes in, use your spoon to really get that flavor from the bottom of the pot. At this point, you just wanna bring it up to a simmer and let it cook for a couple minutes until it's thick and creamy. And now we stir in the rice and that creamy cheese. This is where the magic happens. For this, I'm using sharp yellow cheddar cheese. And you know I love to shred my own cheese because it's a whole lot creamier that way. See how good that looks? All right, you've seen the C and the B, now time for the R. I'm gonna add in some just ranch seasoning, 2 cups of rice. And now all of that creamy cheese. You'll definitely notice the savory cheese here. It's the perfect complement to that buttery topping that I'm about to show you. All right, now into our casserole dish. You could even keep this as a 1-pot meal and finish it on the stove if you want, but then you won't have the topping. Cover it tightly with foil and then into the oven, 375 degrees for about 30 minutes. Off to the races. I love a crunchy topping on a creamy casserole. So for this one, we've got some seasoned panko breadcrumbs, adding in some more butter, melted. Just stir that until the crumbs are coated. And now let's see where we're at. It smells so good. We're gonna uncover it and give it a little stir to make sure all the rice is evenly cooked. It is so creamy. Oh, I love the parts that are getting a little browned around the edges. Now we're going back on with our B that we cooked earlier, and then on with our panko. This buttery panko is gonna be the perfect complement to that savory cheese that we mixed in earlier. This goes back in for just another 10 minutes. Golden brown and delicious. And for my final touch, a little sprinkle of fresh green parsley. This just kind of brightens it all up. Classic chicken and rice casserole with a modern twist. A little more parsley. You can see all the perfect bites right here. You've got those little bits of crunch with that super creamy, cheesy rice. The chicken looks perfectly moist and tender. This ain't your grandma's casserole. I mean, it's 100% perfect score. The rice and chicken are cooked perfectly. You get that creamy cheese in there, then that little salty crunch on the top. I had to start with my favorite classic. It's gonna be hard to beat. When I think about Sunday suppers, other than pasta, I think about my grandmother's pot roast, but it could use a little updating. This hot honey chipotle chuck roast is where it's at. I'm gonna start by building the flavors in my crock pot. That starts with an onion that I'm gonna thinly slice. There's not a whole lot of prep here. We are relying on these good quality ingredients to make this so delicious. You've heard me say simplicity at its finest. I like to go ahead and have everything ready in the crock pot so that once we sear our roast, it can just go right in. Not only is this pot roast alone gonna be the perfect dinner, but I'm giving you a 2-for-1 special here because I'm gonna show you what to do with the leftovers. I don't ever make a roast without also making the second meal. All right, to that I'm gonna add in a can of beef consomme. This is really gonna up that beefy flavor in our pot roast. Lots of sliced garlic. And then the 2 secret ingredients. Chipotle and adobo. This is where the slightly spicy yet really smoky flavor comes in. Chipotles are just smoked peppers. You get that heat from a jalapeno, but then you get that extra smokiness. This cooks low and slow, so it's not gonna be overly spicy, I promise. But if you want it to be, you can add more. And then I'm gonna take about a tablespoon or so of the liquid that comes in the can or the jar. It's really gonna flavor that broth, so good. For more smoky flavor, a little bit of cumin, or kind of a lot of it, and then a little apple cider vinegar. This is gonna cut through some of that richness while also adding a little sweet. Stir that up. Now when the beef cooks on top of this, the juices are gonna drip down in here. Okay, so now this is ready for us. I'm gonna season our roast before we sear it. So you want a good bit of salt and pepper on both sides. I like to just season the first side, and I'll season the second side once we get it in the pot. Now let's get it brown. Some may argue that this step is not essential, but I bet your grandmother did it this way, so you should too. Heat a large pan or Dutch oven. I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of oil. You want it to be nice and hot, and then you're gonna go in seasoned side down, and don't touch it, like 10 minutes. Walk away, do something else. That's what you want. Go another 5 to 10 minutes here. You've seen Mississippi pot roast before, and you know the secret ingredient there. A whole stick of butter, the whole stick right on top. As this slow cooks, it's gonna melt into that pot roast. And then the other secret ingredient here, the hot honey. A little bit spicy, a little bit sweet. That's it. Set it and forget it on low for at least 7 hours. 7 hours is up. Check it out. Smells so good. At first glance, I think this looks like your typical pot roast, but when you go to taste it, your mind is gonna be blown. As promised, this is a 2-for-1 special. So first I'm gonna plate it up how you would typically eat a classic pot roast. Pulling right apart. I absolutely cannot resist that bite. Oh my God. The color on the outside, my mouth just started salivating. It's like I'm having pot roast for the first time. It's exactly what I said. Smoky, sweet, slightly spicy. I mean, look at that. Delicious. Now the juice is gonna be good drizzled over, but what I really want you to notice is the liquid gold that has accumulated on the top. Don't call it fat, it's called liquid gold. Between the butter and the natural fat that came from the pot roast, there is so much flavor in that top layer, and that's what we're gonna use for dish number 2. Of course, you're gonna serve it with some of the juices, but you're gonna wanna skim off that top layer and save it for dish number 2. You can put it in a Tupperware and save it, but we're gonna go right into the next dish, so I'm gonna add some of that good stuff right into here, and you'll see what I'm gonna do with that. Serving this up pretty traditionally, but I am doing rice instead of mashed potatoes. Don't forget about those onions. The onions are also so buttery and they just kind of melt in your mouth. And then the hot liquid gold. The updated pot roast is making me very happy. I can't wait for y'all to try this one. Doesn't get much better than this. It still fills your heart with all the nostalgia that you love about a pot roast, but just with a little modern twist. This is definitely the thing to whip up at the next Sunday supper. For the real modern take on this pot roast is what I do with the leftovers. The trick I'm pulling out next is a trend that I hope never goes away. Quesabirria tacos. All you need is your leftover pot roast with that liquid gold, plus some tortillas and cheese. For this one, I'm using Land O'Lakes Kojak cheese. It is so good, creamy, and I love the mixture of cheeses in here. You're just gonna shred this up. You cook the cheese and it kind of scatters around the tortilla so it gets really like crispy. I'm telling you, it's so good. Remember the liquid gold from the top of the crock pot? That is what you're gonna cook your tortillas in. I like using fresh corn tortillas if available. You're gonna dip this into our fat/juice that we got from the crock pot and then onto your griddle or just a skillet. I like to cook it on the first side for about 10 to 20 seconds before I flip it, and then I start filling it. Tortilla's going, add in that cheese. You wanna let it come over the edges a little bit so that part gets good and crispy. Then you're gonna take that mouth-watering meat and put it just on half of your tortilla. Then you just let it cook until it is good and crispy. So I'm gonna keep building some more. You want it crispy on both sides. Don't rush it. That is a thing of beauty right there. Okay, this first guy's done. Are you ready to taste one of the best things you've ever had? And that is thanks to that liquid gold. Let me show you how to serve it up. You could stop here, but why? I think to make the perfect bite, some crunchy onion, a little fresh cilantro, and then a little squeeze of lime. All optional, but highly recommended. More of that juice from the crock pot. And if you don't have any left, just put the same ingredients that you started with in that dish in a saucepan and cook it down. Nothing can prepare you for your first bite of one of these. That crunchy tortilla with that crispy cheese around the edge. This is just one of those things I prefer to be left alone with. For my final recipe, I'm breaking out the Marry Me magic in the form of macaroni and cheese. Creamy, cheesy, with that little extra flair to make it special. I'm gonna start by boiling my macaroni and 1 pound of elbow macaroni. Cook this just until al dente so it has still a little bite because it's gonna finish cooking later and you don't want mushy mac. And while this cooks, we'll shred the cheese. In this recipe, I'm using a combination of cheeses. I'm starting with the Land O'Lakes Creamy Italian Blend. I love this because it's 3 cheeses in one. You've got provolone, Parmesan, and Romano cheese. I'm also gonna use an extra sharp white cheddar cheese to give you that salty bite. I need 1.5 blocks of the Italian Blend so that you get about 3 cups. Remember this trick my mom taught me? To turn the cheese grater on its side. It's a whole lot less messy this way. All the cheese stays inside and you can dump it where you want it. As I'm grating this cheese, I can see how creamy it is, and you know that's gonna be good in that mac and cheese. A good extra sharp cheese like this is a little bit harder, so this compared with the creamy cheese is the perfect combo. Noodles are perfect. Give them a drain. After you drain your noodles, give them a rinse with cold water to stop the cooking. There's definitely a time and a place for pre-shredded cheese, but when it comes to creamy home-style mac and cheese, it's not the time nor the place. That right there is worth it. Now let's make our cheese sauce. We're starting by making a simple cream sauce, and like all good cream sauces, they start with butter. For this, I'm using a 1/2 stick of unsalted butter. Once the butter's melted, go in with some flour and let that cook together for about a minute or so. Equal parts butter and flour per usual. You're gonna cook this for about 2 or 3 minutes. It's gonna stay this nice blonde color so that our sauce gets really thick. And as it cooks, it'll start to smell a little bit nutty. That's what you want. When you see Marry Me on a menu, expect it to be super indulgent. You're trying to get someone to marry you, so anyone is gonna be in love with a recipe that involves heavy cream. So in this mac and cheese, we have a combination of heavy cream and milk. So I'm gonna bring this up to a simmer, that way you can see how thick it's gonna be, and we'll cook it for about 4 minutes. Our sauce is nice and velvety. You'll know it's in the right spot when it coats the back of a spoon, like that. So we're good to go. I'm gonna turn off the heat and season it up. In goes salt, some Italian seasoning. This is also very classic in Marry Me everything. It all started with like Marry Me chicken, and then you've seen casseroles, dips, soups, a little garlic powder and onion powder. Then kick it up with a little crushed red pepper. Mix this all together, and now it's time for the macaroni and the cheese. This smells so good. I'm gonna start stirring the cheeses in about 1 cup at a time. The heat from the sauce will gradually melt that cheese, so go in just a little bit at a time. And then I'm gonna save some of the sharp cheddar for the top. So I'm only gonna put half in at this point. And the other thing that turns everything Marry Me is the addition of sun-dried tomatoes. So I'm going in with most of them, and I'm gonna save some for the top. When they're packed in oil, they have like a little bit more of a concentrated flavor, so that's the ones we like. And with our mac. It's really saucy, but as this bakes, it's gonna absorb into that macaroni a little more. Then this goes into a buttered casserole dish. This might be the creamiest mac and cheese I've ever seen. For the topping, cheese, and then some more sun-dried tomatoes, little like confetti of color, and these will bake into the cheese. Makes it so pretty. Then we're gonna cover it up with foil. A little trick, when you've got cheese on the top, give your foil a little spray first. This goes into the oven, 375 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. Then you're gonna uncover it and turn your broiler on until that cheese gets all bubbly. Obviously, by the look and sound of the bubbles, you're gonna want it to sit for about 10 minutes or so to come together before you dig in. Our mac and cheese has settled down nicely. I love that the sun-dried tomatoes have kind of caramelized a little bit. They have a sweetness to them. I'm gonna finish it with fresh basil. I love adding a fresh herb at the end because when you've got something super rich like this, it helps kind of brighten it up. If you don't have fresh basil or basil's not in season, you can always use fresh parsley. It's super inexpensive and it doesn't change the flavor of anything. Oh my God. That looks like some of the best mac and cheese I've ever seen. I feel like you're gonna think I'm lying, but that's the best mac and cheese I've ever had. Not only is the creaminess a 15 out of 10, but the flavor from all the cheeses and then the way it cooks on the top, so you got that kind of salty, slightly sweet from the sun-dried tomato, perfection. I mean, everyone loves a taste of nostalgia, and comforting classics always have a place at the table, but if you're looking to give them a modern twist, try these recipes. I've never steered you wrong.